This is far more difficult than I thought it'd be. I can't get my thoughts in line here. Everything is so hazy and blurry now. I'm gonna, I'm going to upload this probably like a year from now so I can look back and see the mindset in all this. So basically, I got into a relationship where getting hurt was the primary goal, which is kind of messed up. It's like messed up, man. But at some point, I did appreciate that it does have its own set of benefits per se. Like, man, it is great, of course. But that wasn't my focus. The good parts, because I tried to be different, quote unquote, and be special and go like, oh, I'm not here for the good. I'm also here for the bad. But guess what? I'm actually here for the bad. And essentially, they're both the same thing. When you're going into something and looking and expecting some sort of feeling, some sort of experience out of a relationship, whether it be bad or good, it's still an expectation. Man. So, yeah, am I a prodigy now? Am I torn into pieces, and now when I put myself back together, am I now a god at programming or have a following of 1 million followers or something? No. Like, that has nothing to do with it. Like, all it did was leave a void in my heart. But then again, I'd counter argue because I literally saw this, like me saying that it's my job now, the future Homer. The past Homer literally put me in a position where I am obligated to fill that void, and literally make nothing out of this. Like, no, make everything out of this. Squeezing water out of stone. I think that's like a chess kind of analogy. So, yeah, the fundamental approach, my foundation to how I approached the entire thing was flawed from the very beginning. And it was not only until our third and fourth month that I realized that I was actually enjoying it genuinely. And this relationship bullshit is actually worth doing. Like, there's actually something in this. This is actually pretty fun. Being loved by someone, loving someone, caring for someone, being worried about someone for no reason when it doesn't even benefit you in any way. Literally, it's illogical. It's unconditional. My goodness. I get it now. Ako lang. Yes. I tried to, what's the English word? To like get back, like redeem myself, for a lack of a better word. And perhaps even though I started poorly, but I was very lucky. I think that's very important. That even though I approached this entire thing very poorly, like my mindset, I thought I would be able to redeem myself and sway the relationship towards something that could actually last far longer than I would have initially wanted. Because I actually wanted it to last at some point, literally. And because at first I thought, okay, this would most likely end by graduation, because statistically speaking, that's just how senior high school or high school relationships just go. They rarely ever work out. I guess it's just a thing. And with that risk in mind, I knew it wasn't going to be worth it logically, but in terms of, I know I'm contradicting myself, but that's the entire point of this predicament. There was a conflict between two major Homer personalities, as I would call it. I wanted to give myself a chance to feel something. That argument is what won everybody's favor. Like, that's what the Homer back there that we locked up literally stated. Like, okay, Homer, you've been thinking too much your entire life. For once, feel. Let yourself feel. Give yourself a chance to decide for yourself for once. Not out of logistics, not out of the most efficient way of doing things, not the most optimal approach that gives the best possible outcome, but rather, I want this. We're gonna do our best to make this person happy. we're gonna try our best to not implode and explode or get ourselves killed or whatever, and then fuck it, we ball. We don't have to go to every single detail, every little detail to make sure this works, because if it will work, it will work. Like, it sounds contradicting. It's not me. I want everything meticulously plotted out in a paper, in a presentation, whatever, because that's how I perform. That's how I was programmed. So now there was a conflict of approach, and this one Homer, the typical make a good speech, sound inspirational way of winning people's hearts, of the Homer people, and then boom, we've finally decided, although we didn't decide, and one crucial factor is that we didn't technically made the first move. She was the one who made the first move. So that just feeded my delusion, wherein, let's just say, us even getting together is an accident. Like, that added to my delusion that there was some sort of story, and I place a lot of value towards stories. And more than that, I place a lot of value towards connection. And I really felt that connection because it felt like life and fate put us together. Because, trust me, I know it is just me being delusional and giving more thought into it than I should really put. Okay, I shouldn't really put much thought into it, I know that, but I value this part of our story, wherein fate brought us together. So it's just funny that it was fate that brought us apart, that tore us apart. Like, the amount of coincidences, the amount of setup, at least from my perspective, I don't know in her perspective, from my perspective though, the string of events and the set of conditions that had to be in place and had to occur in order for me to actually say, hey, this is actually possible. Hey, I actually really like this person, and not only that, I'm actually gonna do something about it, and let Homer, that we locked up now, win. Like, just let him have a seat in the top 10 daily drivers or something. It's pretty interesting, because it's actually starting to blur now, and I find it to be pretty sad, because this really matters. This matters a lot to me, and it really, really did matter a lot to me, way more than it does now, and I want it to matter in the same extent in which it did. But I know I can't hold on to the story. It will be harder for me to give up on something if I place a lot of value. It's like the watch analogy, where if it's a normal watch and you lost it, okay, you'll just buy one. But what if this watch was given to me by my favorite childhood hero or something, and now he passed away tragically? When you lose the watch, it's not the watch that you were worried about, it's the value the watch comes with. And it's like the same thing with this. I've always asked for a story. It was given to me, and it was given to me brilliantly, I swear. It's not even me exaggerating. And I'd really like to say I'm over exaggerating, but I'm not. Everything just felt right. Everything just fell into place. And it just came into a point where the Homer that invaded that won everybody's favor was able to convince that, this is just meant for us. Like, if you back out now, you'll regret it forever. Like, I'd rather, if it were to come down, crashing at some point, like, along with the win-win argument, wherein if we do die, at least when we do resurrect, we're like twice as strong, even 100 times stronger. We're gonna feel something, man. Like, even if the world to me back then was in black and white, it was practically monochrome. Everything had a reason. Everything had to have a reason. Everything had to make sense. Everything I do had to be logically based. Like, I can't have fun if it doesn't really contribute to the things I'm doing. And she painted that world view of mine in so many colors, and yes, you could argue it was blue, at one point. Like it was very blue, and to some extent that blueness, perhaps even, yeah, that blue, at least it's still color, you know. I'd rather feel the pain of love than feel the emptiness of being, I don't know what the word is. It's not that I was in love before all of this. It's just, this is such a surreal experience. And aside from the love and lovey-dovey relationship part and aspect of it, it was, to me, it was more than that. Like it was the pinnacle of my hard work. It was the peak of the plot that I was building for the past 5 years. It was literally everything coming together and saying, hey, this is what you worked hard for. This is what we've waited for. This is the reason. This was the reason I was talking about, to not end it all at one point. Like, it will get better. People will come into your life, and she did. And when that really sunk in, that hey, life is so much better now. I have this person now, and I'm glad that I waited a little longer. Like, she was the only individual in my discussion friends, per quote unquote, because on my Twitter, I think I've mentioned this, I don't really let people follow me. It was private. I only let chosen individuals, and she was the first ever person to follow me, both literally and figuratively, on her own volition. Like, man, someone actually found the things I'm saying and yapping to be interesting, and for someone to tell me that it helped them. Yeah. So, I guess, Homer, I hope that reminds you as to why we place this much value towards what we had with this person. Because it's simply not about the love part, like relationships, the hand holding, the photo booths. Yes, that's a huge part of it, but more than that, to us, man, it's not just that. I can't put it into words as much as I'd like to, but we shouldn't be attached to people, but I really suck at that. We shouldn't be attached to events, and I suck at that more. And we shouldn't be attached to a point in time, and I suck at that the most. Because if there's one thing that's constantly changing, it's everything. And that's caused by what? Time. So I guess that's it. It wasn't more than just about staying with this person and living out the rest of my life with this person. Like, this person allowed me to shift my mindset about life. Like, life is not about just thinking. Life is not just about doing what makes sense. Sometimes you just have to dive deep into the unknown and just hope for the best. And if it's for us, it's for us. And I hate that phrase. If it's for us, it's for us. But if it's not, then well, at least we tried. I know. I hate it. It's the optimistic approach. Like, logical Homer is literally having a seizure right now. So yeah, I guess if you ever forget Homer as to why you were able to fight for that long and for that much, we weren't only fighting for her and for the relationship, we were fighting for ourselves and the person who we became to be because of that. The setup, the story, the way it started, how lucky you were, the amount of preparation you put out, the amount of countermeasures I laid out. And even though, yeah, looking back, it did seem kind of controlling. Yeah, Homer, that's why. I hope, even if our memory fades, because I think, well, yeah, man, this was a very difficult thing to talk about. So, yeah, I'll post this perhaps December, at some point in December, and hope that you guys can listen to me like this and not feel like dying inside. So, thank you.